we know that when we look at those three drivers of more leads, we're making sure we're converting them, they're staying for longer, and then we're obviously getting to pay us more, we know that is when we get the compound effect. So when you look at one, so well, how do we do more of that? Well, here's a number of strategies for our members, and that's in their plans. I need to do more of this. Click drives exactly to that area, right? I need to do more of that. Boom. Hey, this has dropped off. What do I need to do? Is this really logical? Guess what? It is logical. I double dare you to get out there and do it right now. You know how much chance you've got of doing that? Zero. The inside of a donut without the strategies that go behind it.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, it's so logical to go, I'll get more leads. Obviously. How? Here is how you stop rollercoaster income and instead grow month on month consistently and predictably using the compound growth method. Super excited to talk about this today. Dave McDonald, General Manager, head of all things clever, handsome, but also outfit changes.
Yes.
Look at that.
Do I look clever?
You do, and you're bringing the heat.
Yeah, I did say that this was going to be the Practice Acceleration podcast.
I'm bringing today's episode is starring Clever and Handsome.
Yes.
And we're sponsored by our sponsor, Cashology, which we recently created. And so you can buy one of those T-shirts. They're what are they? $799.95, and it's an absolute bargain.
Yeah.
So make sure you jump on and you buy one of those.
Yeah.
Today we are talking about how to eliminate roller coaster income months, and instead make sure we grow month on month using what we call the compound growth effect. Why are we talking about this, Dave? What's going on?
Roller coaster emotion, roller coaster business, too many peaks, too many troughs, and too much decision-making and emotions that go with that.
What do I say? How many steps forward, how many steps back?
One step forward, two steps back.
That doesn't sound like much fun, right?
No, it doesn't.
We don't want that, okay? So into the compound growth effect. When our members and when our listeners adopt this approach like we do and our members do inside our program, what changes? What happens? Instead of roller coaster, what do we get?
Yeah, we get consistent trajectory.
Nice.
And more importantly, we get what's called Q-on-Q growth.
Oh,
which
baby.
is what we talk about, quarter-on-quarter growth. Not living week to week, not even living month to month, but actually knowing with certainty that your business is going to take leaps and bounds forward each and every quarter.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah. And the reason for this is it's a bit like this. You know, if I took Clever over there and I gave Clever
Hi, my name's Clever.
and I'm handsome. But if I gave Clever a ball, and I stood at the other side and they held up a big hula hoop. And I said to Clever, I said, hey, can you throw a tennis ball or could you throw a ball through that hoop?
We can do that after this episode. I'm betting I could.
I bet you could too. But then I said to him, well, you know what, this time I'm going to give you a golf ball and I'm going to hold up a paper cup. And I'm going to hold up this cup here. And I say, in one go, can you throw that ball into this cup?
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, what's the reason? The reason is because there's less margin for error.
That's right.
And too often, the biggest problem and frustration that we see is that there's no margin for error, meaning that we all know that some months, some weeks, you might have staff sick, public holidays, marketing maybe not doing as well as it could be.
All these variables, right?
Off weeks, banana skins, it doesn't really matter. But yet, when you are too focused on week-to-week growth or month-to-month growth, it's like banana skin happens, staff members down, don't quite hit the goals, and it's like, oh, disaster. Emotions are sky high. And where obviously then times get derailed.
Yes.
And then the impact of that derailment is sometimes it can then have a negative impact for the next kind of days, weeks, or even sometimes months.
Yeah, quarter.
Because you're in the doldrums or whatever else.
Absolutely.
But when you have Q-on-Q growth, and what we're going to talk about, the compound growth effect, is that you are including margin for error. You're having opportunities where even 1 week does not mean that the quarter's over.
That's right.
It doesn't mean to say that, you know, or even, for example, if you've had a personal best, you've had an amazing week, high five, go you if that's the case. But your peaks are positive anomalies. It doesn't mean to say that that's where you are consistently. And same for a negative anomaly, it doesn't mean to say that's where you are consistently. So essentially what we're trying to do here is we're going to eliminate this roller coaster emotion, this roller coaster effect where we want to maximize the highs, but we want to minimize the lows. We want to bring our visibility up by adding in more margin for error along the way.
100%. Well, that's what we're here, the compound growth effect. So what I want to say at this point, like we talk about lead indicators and lag indicators, right? So once you start adopting this philosophy that we're using, there's like a hockey stick curve. But what happens is the results follow after 90 days.
Absolutely.
Of doing the right work. Now, and the other interesting thing is if you're using this methodology and then you stop using it, 90 days later, you're really aware the effects of having stopped doing that.
Absolutely.
No, we're going to be doing the right things day in, day out. I've got this saying here at Practice Acceleration. You can have a bad day. You can't have a bad week. All right. So we track it that frequently. So here's what you guys need to focus on. Like every quarter, we do quarterly planning for our company here at Practice Acceleration and also for our members. And we know there's a number of factors that are going to influence your growth that are going to eliminate rollercoaster income. And we reverse engineer this all, but we focus on two main things, right? And what they really make up is acquisition. So what does acquisition mean? Like, what does it involve? Well, if we're to be bringing on more people, acquiring more people into your business, more buying units, what it really means is we've got two focal points. Number one is leads that actually convert.
Yes.
Then what we sell to those leads.
Yes.
Right? Now, in the instance of what you guys are talking about, our followers, we're talking about selling either services, appointments, or products, or procedures. And it could be a combination of those.
Yep.
So when we have a focus on acquisition and we track that, when we're bringing in more leads, and we're also improving our dollar sale.
Yes.
If we're improving the amount, if we're bringing more leads, we're also making more money per lead, we're getting a compound effect.
Absolutely.
Because we're not just getting more leads and then selling less, or we're not getting less leads and then selling more. We're increasing on both fronts.
Absolutely.
And that really is the magic in and of itself, is knowing how to influence those two areas, knowing how to get more leads, knowing how to do that at profit, knowing what we can actually sell ethically, what we can recommend and so forth. What I see way too often and with our members or people joining our program, and then we then iron this out very quickly with our members, is there's a real attention to one or the other.
Yep.
Like focusing on leads or focusing on conversion of those leads. Yep. But very rarely is there a focus on both at the same moment in time. So as a result, what happens is we develop this like comfort thermostat. Like, here's where I'm comfortable. You know, if it drops below that, it's like the alarm's going off and
knee-jerk reaction.
You know, it's interesting. This heater behind me has an inbuilt thermostat, and when it hits temperature, it stops just like that. Humans are the same. Like, we've got this like thermostat of like, well, I've hit that goal where I feel comfortable, or the edge of my comfort zone, and then drop back off.
Yeah,
right.
Organizational inertia.
Absolutely.
That's organizational inertia when there's a certain level of success or a certain level of comfortability. And then perhaps you maybe have experienced things now, getting so frustrated at your team, just being, I don't want change. I don't want to go to another level. Just comfortable with this level of success.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just happens to humans, and we're here to challenge that, right? So what I'm here to say to you is, you might get reactive, like you might be at a certain point in revenue or patient volume per week, but you might not be looking at what actually drives the effect, what actually drives that. So it's like, well, I'm seeing X amount of patients per week, I'm feeling good. It's lower than that. Oh my goodness, what do I focus on? All right, loosey-goosey, henny-penny, the sky is falling. We don't want to be doing that. What we want to be focusing on every single week is driving acquisition, driving number of leads that convert, and then driving what we're actually recommending to them. So that way we can have a compound effect down the line. And the results of doing this are massive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can even speak to that point. I think there's two things. I mean, even so, what's your favorite chocolate?
Oh, I like a chocolate bar.
I don't know, just.
Oh, you know, I had a brownie the other day. Does that count?
No.
Okay, because it was really delicious. Yeah. I'm going to go with. I'm going to say Bounty.
Bounty.
There we go. Did I even look excited saying that?
Yeah, you did. You went. Oh,
yeah, I do like a Bounty.
I'll tell you what mine is. Mine's M&Ms.
Oh, I'm going to buy you some after this episode.
Because there's lots of it. But also, do you know why I like M&Ms? Because it always reminds...
Because their adverts are very fun.
Yeah, well, it's also... Yeah, the adverts are very fun and they're catchy. But there's also a thing that reminds me of M&Ms. And it also stands for this, what I'm about to speak about right now.
Are you talking about the Slim Shady or the edible M&Ms?
The edible M&Ms.
Okay.
Yes. But it's M and M, which is mentality and mechanics.
Oh, nice.
Mentality and mechanics. Which I think, as you spoke about quite appropriately, that there's only ever two things that you're thinking about, and unfortunately there's one, we focus on one goes down, we focus on the other one. Well, it's also thinking about what levers can you pull or what approach can you take in order to really go about this. And I think it's about mentality.
Yeah.
And then, so in other words, how we approach it, who we need to be, how we evolve.
Mentality and mechanics equals money.
Yes.
Another t-shirt.
Yes. M cubed. Yes, M cubed. So mentality, we got to think about, well, what needs to shift? How do you need to approach this differently? We spoke about just their organizational inertia, being not comfortable with not being comfortable with achieving more,
Yes.
not
Or not wanting to be uncomfortable, really. And not, who wants to be uncomfortable? Nobody.
That's right. But it's like, what's the next level? Who do I need to be to do what I need to do, to have what I need to have?
Yes.
What is the new beliefs around attracting leads and acquisition that I need to make? How do I need to put myself out there? What are we doing that's no longer working? Or what we're doing that's worked to a certain point that
Stop
we then
working or slow down, diminishing.
How do we evolve this?
Yes.
How do we? And it all starts with us. So first of all, it's the mentality towards marketing, the mentality towards the running of the business,
Yes.
the mentality towards the clinical recommendations we're making, the mentality towards the way we evolve and train and even challenge our team's beliefs. So if we think about everything that comes with the mentality, then on the other side of the coin, it's, well, what are the mechanics? What are the actual processes we need to evolve? How do we attract leads more efficiently, more effectively, cheaply, or more cost efficiently is probably the better way to say it. How do we make sure that we, for the people that do raise their hands, how do we bring them into our clinics and actually convert them into a treatment plan that works for everybody? So it's also not only the mechanics of obviously attracting leads, but it's the mechanics of, well, how do we convert? How do we convert that's less dependent on the practice owner?
Yes.
So I think that
That's
the whole idea here is even with the compound effect, because you said it beautifully, was this bell curve. All of the experiences that those that are listening right now, that you're experiencing right now, you're not experiencing what's happening, good or bad. If it's good, it's probably because it's not what you did yesterday or the day before.
90 days. Yeah, 90 days ago.
What you did 4 to 6 weeks minimum ago. And you know what? If things are not going quite well, you can probably be honest with yourself and go, you know what? What changes did we make 4 to 6 weeks ago that I got away with for a period of time?
Yes.
And then now I'm really at the adverse effects. So
Exactly.
I think for us, it's the compound effect method is about recognizing that it's not ever singly one thing.
That's right.
It's a combination of things that work together, that compound together, that allows you to have that growth that you're really after.
And if you're, we demonstrate this beautifully visually because we have a talk with a profit forecast tool.
Oh, yes, we do.
I know. Just going to bring that in, right?
Yes.
Because how cool is it? So visual, right? So we say to a client, here's all your numbers, and we've got a number of different dashboards that we use to understand where a business is at and look at where we're going, and then we map out plans, like what's actually going to happen, what needs to happen to get there, and so on. When we go through our profit forecast card, we look at, all right, well, if we increase number of leads by this,
yes,
then let's look at what happens over time with increase in revenue and so forth.
2-year period.
Over a 2-year period.
So we have 24 months.
Yes.
So they get to see not only the impact will happen short term, but what happened long term.
Exactly.
And what goes in, it's like a funnel or a mixer. It's like, okay.
And we adjust it.
If I put this thing in here, what comes out the other end?
Exactly.
And we know right from month 1, you pop in the forecast tool, well, how many active patients do you have right now?
Yeah.
Number goes in. And it's like, well, based on that active number of patients I have, if we were to add 40, goes in, so that's the next number. And then the other number we put in here, well, what's the churn rate? How many do you lose?
How many do you lose? Right? So what we're noticing, we're talking about acquisition, right, guys? So if we bring in more new patients, fantastic. Are we keeping them?
Yes.
Right? But there's another part of the tool we play with. Cost per service.
Yes.
So then we're looking at real compound effect. So we increase the number of people coming in, we increase how long people are staying or the advice they're following, and we increase the value per service, therefore we increase our fee per service.
Absolutely.
With this compound effect. And what we see is the graph over 24 months take off. Yeah. But then we also play with it and we go, well, if you change this and this, but you don't change this, look what happens.
Yeah.
But if you change this and this, but this one here goes down, look what happens.
Yeah.
So it's like we know when we're moving all three, there's an enormous compound effect.
Yeah.
And we just look at this time and time again. And under each one, there's obviously a number. We talked about our Genius model a couple of episodes back. Yeah. We know there's certain driving between we've got 3 main frameworks we focus on here at Practice Acceleration. So achieve freedom of money, freedom of time, freedom of headspace. And under each of I was going to say 3, but I'm holding up 4 right now. I don't know why that is. Here we go. Of the 3, there's another 3 major strategies underneath those, and underneath those there's more tactics again.
It's just layers upon layers.
That's right. It's like you said, the onion, right?
Yes.
There's layers and layers and layers. We know that when we look at those 3 drivers of more leads, we're making sure we're converting them, they're staying for longer, and then we're obviously getting to pay us more, we know that is when we get the compound effect. So when you look at one, well, how do we do more of that? Well, here's a number of strategies for our members, and that's in their plans. I need you to do more of this. Click. drives exactly to that area, right? I need to do more of that. Boom. Hey, this has dropped off. What do I need to do?
Yeah.
So it's important that you understand you have a dashboard in place where you can influence it. And if I do this, boom. And I'm super visual.
Yes.
So if I see that, I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like you can say to me, if we do this, and this, Tristan, this will change. I'm like, that's cool. And I'm auditory too, but I'm really visual.
Yeah.
So if you're like showing it to me on Zoom, that's best for me, or in person right now.
And there's an element of excitement too, because if you change some of the variables, it creates two things. One, it creates a really great sticker twist moment, which is, do we keep doing what we're doing? And if we were just to maintain what we're doing now, you have great confidence and certainty that the future is going to get better, right? But then also, it might be a case of, well, if we keep doing what we're doing now, the graph is telling us otherwise, and we need to do a twist moment, which is, we need to change a few things here. So that's the first thing I really want to get across, that it creates a great sticker twist.
Yes.
The other thing is it also can showcase exactly what's happening in terms of if we change a few variables, and, for example, the forecast tool shows us a flat line.
Yes.
Right? Then that means we're going to be in the exact same position that we are in a year or 2 years' time. So let me ask you this.
Yeah, if things keep going like this, here's where you're going to be.
Yeah, and I trust this could be a very painful point. Who here, and obviously they're not going to tell us back because it's only you and I that are here right now, but I'm going to speak to a point. Have you ever felt, or upon reflection...
Ask yourself, as you're listening to this...
Yeah. Have you ever been in the same position 6 months, 12 months down the track, or you found yourself, I'm in the same financial position, I'm in the same frustrated position, I'm in the same team position, whatever it was, 6 months, 12 months, my goodness, maybe even 24 months.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing about the forecasting tool is that predicts this. And it shows, so if you see a flat line, then you know you're going to be in the same position.
That's
now,
right.
If we, for example, change some variables and we have a small bell curve, well, then we're like, okay, I can see that we're going to be improving, but then you might be like, but I'm not improving to the right or to the accelerated time that I want. But then if we tweak a few more things, then we get the exact objective measure.
We change a lot of things a small amount.
But we also know...
So we get the compounding effect.
Yes, but also to a precision is what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Because we'll know exactly, this is the number of patients we've got right now. If we then increase it or invite new patients into this amount, if we keep this amount, if we have this average service fee at this amount, and we do these things, and we can see the graph accelerate to a point that we want. When I show you that, this is where Tristan gets really excited. He bounces on the chair, and then he kind of, oh.
Because I'm visual.
Yes.
Yeah. And now I know as you're listening, you're like, hey guys, that's really logical. Guess what? It is logical. But guess what? I double dare you to get out there and do it right now. Zero. You know how much chance you've got of doing that? Zero. The inside of a donut without the strategies that go behind it.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, it's so logical to go, I'll get more leads. Obviously. How? Make your clients stick for longer. Yeah, how? Charge them more. How? It's the how. And that's the secret sauce. That's our magic, right? It's not just the what, but it's the how.
That's right. And also to get the right support to make sure that you've got the appropriate mentality and the appropriate mechanics in place in order to make sure that the compound growth effect actually takes place.
100%. So there you have it, guys. Compound growth effect. That's how you get off the roller coaster income month to month, and instead make sure you grow month on month with predictability, with certainty, with assurance, with self-confidence, and a whole lot more enjoyment, not just for you, but for your entire team, because everyone is going to be swept up in your energy, knowing because your level of confidence is going to rub off on them. Guys, I've loved presenting this to you, Dave. It's been a pleasure. As per usual.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for putting up with Clever and Handsome.
Oh, yes. Thank you for putting up with us. we really appreciate you. Guys, do us a favor. Going to ask for you. If you've gained value from this episode, which I hope that you have, and I believe that you have, I believe that Dave and I have earned the right to ask this of you. Please give us a like. Please give us a share. Please make sure that you share this episode to somebody else, because they will also benefit from watching or listening to our podcast. And the more people that we can get our message into the ears of, into the hands of, into the eyes of, the more of a difference we can make inside the world of healthcare by serving patients to a higher level, to raising the profile of healthcare, to ensuring that staff have a better experience, to ensuring that you as the owner have a better experience and you are on your journey to achieving the three freedoms: freedom of money, freedom of time, freedom of headspace. Thank you so much for joining. Please make sure you click like and share, and make sure that you share the word. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao. Arrivederci. Buonasera. Bon lit. Guten Abend. Bon Natal. Bam.